Yes, so today's workshop is about everyone. Today's workshop is about spiritual hacks. Has anyone ever heard about what hacks means? So hack is a very interesting concept, and there is a way we can actually hack into our own system, and we're going to learn today how to do it. Okay, so but before we start, we need to understand what do we need to hack, right? So we need to hack our own system for negative emotions. All of us has negative emotions, correct? Don't we feel angry sometimes? Don't we feel depressed sometimes? How about when we are too energetic and we want to do this and that? How about when we are feeling sad and we don't know what kind of emotions we have? We can't really define ourselves. How about when we are in a state of too much rage and irritations? And sometimes we say, hey, we are too tired, we can't do anything now, so we are like stressed. Those are the moments of stress. But what are negative emotions? Negative emotions are emotions like, again, rage, irritation, anger, hatred towards something, to hate something, to dislike something, to have extreme likability towards some things, to um, let's say more examples of negative emotions and emotions which are like extreme emotions. I also call extreme emotions as negative. um, so we live day and night, every single moment, with a lot of emotions. And trust me, it is said by science that the first reaction that comes to us is always negative. And then if we pause for a moment, suddenly the second reaction that comes, it actually becomes a response, which is a much thoughtful response. So there's an experiment which I would want all of you to do whenever you get a chance before tomorrow as we continue this workshop. And this experiment is, I want you to not speak your first thought. Experiment and see if you are able to speak your second thought. This is such an interesting thing because sometimes the second thought will not even be related to the instance. Sometimes the second thought would be so humorous. Sometimes the second thought will be much more thought about and a better response than the first one. So if we try to learn and train ourselves to not do an first reaction on anything, but actually do a second reaction or a second response, trust me, we will become extremely intellectual beings. So this is an experiment I would really want you to try on for until tomorrow. Speak not your first thought, speak only your second thoughts, and tell everyone in your house, your parents, your siblings, your colleagues, your friends, tell everyone needs to do this experiment for the whole day. For next 12 hours, all we're going to do is speak our second thoughts, not the first thought. Why? Because as per science, the first thought would always be something which is very reactive, and our reactions are based on just four passions. So these reactions would be either rage, anger, irritation. It would be more like hatred, jealousy, more like making fun, gossiping, deceit. Those are like our initial reactions because that's how we have been living our life like. And that's why we can't stop ourselves. It becomes our habit to think in a certain way, and we keep on thinking the same way all the time. For example, if there is a girl, say, who hates bananas or who hates a particular fruit, now every single time the fruit comes or even the memory of the fruit comes in his mind, the first response would be hatred. Maybe the second response would be, hey, maybe it's nice, but I really don't want to try it. Huge difference between the two thoughts. The first thought was so much full of negative charge, right? I hate it. I don't want it, right? And suddenly, in a few moments, the second thought comes, hey, it's nice. Everyone is taking, but I don't want it. Do you see how much difference is in the two charges here? That's why the first reaction would be most of the times much percentage negative. The second reaction would be much cooler, calmer, and less reactive than the first one. So let's begin with an interesting story in order to understand what this stress really means and how do we know that we are stressed in our life all the time. Check this one out. What is stress? So I'm going to tell you a small instance. Imagine a scene in a forest. Okay, now there is a deer who is feeding on some grass, and when he's feeding on some grass, he is quiet, calm, and absolutely in a peaceful state. This little deer is munching and enjoying every single thing it is hogging on to, and pretty much relaxed, except for his ears, which are constantly on and making sure they don't hear something weird or a noise which might represent something which is threatening to them. So this deer is munching on the grass, enjoying and being in its peaceful state all the time. And then in a moment, it hears something, a ruffle, a shuffle in the grass, and it hears a stomp, a slow, soft stomp, but it can hear it. And suddenly its ears even become more wide and open. And now the fear starts coming inside it. It knows there's someone around it which might be threatening to its life. And now this deer wants to run for life. It wants to save itself. And it's still putting its head up and checking, is there anyone around? But in next moment, suddenly the leopard comes in view. And this leopard is now shooting itself towards the deer and running towards it. Okay, and now the chase begins. The deer is taking left turn and right turn and left turn and right turn and trying to save its life to its utmost capacity. And the leopard, it's chasing the deer, constantly running after it with its fastest speed. Somehow the deer finds a way out, and it goes suddenly into a place where the leopard couldn't really discover. And this deer now takes a moment of rest because it knows that the chasing leopard has stopped. It's no longer there. And now this leopard who was running in full force has also stopped because he lost his prey. And he would now go and search for a second prey. Everything calms down for the leopard. Everything calms down for the deer. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to tell you that in the moment when both the creatures were at rest, they were quite in a peaceful state. There was no negative emotion. They were enjoying what was happening. And when the chase began, both the creatures went into a mode of stress. One is in fear and trying to run away from that fear, and another one is like greedy and wants to eat. So the two passions are chasing each other. The fear is running apart and the greed is chasing the fear, and the whole circumstance is going into a huge stress inside them. Their blood starts racing faster, their hearts start thumping and bumping inside their body, and everything is like in chaos. They can't think, they don't know what to do, they're just running in haywire directions, right? That state is known as stress. So the stress I just defined as a state when we are in a mode of fear, when we are in the mode of greed, when we are in the mode of deceitfulness, when we are functioning constantly day and night, thinking in and out how to make fun of this person, how to gossip about them, how to expose their wrong things, how to expose their misdoings. how to embarrass others, or how to, like all the day, if you watch yourself, even while we are in school or at home, this constant state of ourselves running in those emotions and passions is our stress state. But when we are resting, we're enjoying ourselves, we are breathing in and out, we're stopping for a moment and just gulping down a glass of water, so calm and so relaxed. When we're sleeping, about to sleep, we finally enter into a mode which is much more relaxed, and it is not of stress. So again, the definition of stress is, it is a biological response to an unwanted situation. Something happened. It was not really expected. It was pretty much unwanted in that moment. You didn't want it, but it came in. And because it came in, your body starts responding to in biological fashion, and it starts working faster than your normal day, right? Than your normal activities. It starts really working faster. So either it's the body that starts working faster, it could be your mind that might start working faster, and it could be your spiritual mature self that could be start to working faster. I'm going to tell you exactly how this happens. But you know what? My question to you is, how much stress can one take? If what I'm pointing towards, that because of our passions, we are constantly in a state of stress, how much stress can one really take in life? What is our tolerance? So a counter question to you for this would be, how much time can you hold your breath? Or how much time, if the breath is out, you can hold yourself without this breath? Not much time. After some time, you will have to breathe back again, right? In order to survive. So this is what the phenomenon is stress. If you constantly keep your body into a stressful state or condition, or full of negative emotions or full of excitement emotions, your body does not know how to breathe. Your mind does not know how to breathe. It doesn't know how to stay healthy, because you did not give a moment of pause. You did not give a moment of rest, which was really, really required, right? So in any moment, both the things goes together. Okay, what are the two things? Giving and taking. Taking and giving. If you keep on receiving, you will become congested and it will die out. If you keep on giving, you will become, what do you say, opposite of congestion. It's like depression, and then you will die out too. So there's always an equal way to to give yourself the time to calm down. And we have never thought about this, that if in a day it's 24 hours, if we can consciously give ourselves at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour to calm down our system and stop this level of stress or thinking or our reactive state, it will be like taking a fresh breath of air, gulping it down your system. That's what it feels like to your mind and to your body, to your health, to your well-being. So in this example, the truth is that after the leopard and the deer has stopped chasing one another, and they have both come to a rest, in that moment they actually come to rest, and they go back within a few seconds into their joyful, peaceful state. Okay, and this is the moment when the stress shuts down. If this stress continues, that means if the deer keeps on fearing, in that case the deer will die out. If the leopard keeps on itself busy with constant thoughts of prey and hunger and greed, the lion or the leopard would die out. So it's very important that we must pause our feelings and emotions for a small duration of time, and that will rejuvenate or jumpstart our system. Let's understand this stress in different forms. So number one, the stress in physical form. See how it is. Physical stress triggers. You wouldn't have thought about this before. Until I started researching on stress, I came to know that even our workouts, if we are running at a fast pace, if we have illness in our body, if we are injured, if we are facing adversities, like suddenly there is like earthquake or tornadoes, and our mind is like now constantly up and awake, like those deer ears of the deer, right? Now up and ready to listen to the sound of the danger. If there is violence around us, violence could be in any form that we can physically come across. All these are physical stress triggers. And no matter what, over a period of time, they damage our system. They damage how much time a battery can really run. It will die out if it's not re-energized, right? Everything needs to be re-energized. We need to re-energize our system, right? We can't keep on expanding energy, spending energy, spending energy, right? It needs to re-energize itself. And that's what we're going to learn in this workshop with the help of some spiritual hacks, pretty quick ways how we can get the stress out of our system completely. That's what the workshop is about. And it's going to be very, very interesting. How can we hack our own system and get rid of the stress in just few minutes, just few moments. Let's go to the next slide. This one is mental stress triggers. What causes mental stress? Again, what I was talking to you, right? When we are angry, what happens when we are angry? Our heartbeat is not the same pace. Our heart starts thumping at a much faster rate when you're angry. If you don't believe me, experiment on it. Next time you are in anger or you're irritated, put your hand on your heart, left hand on your heart, and start reading your tick tock movements of your heart pace, and you will figure out that the heart is thumping much faster because of that anger. How about when we are anxious? We are very anxious and we cannot sleep now, right? We are very anxious, we cannot study. It's exam time and we have so much anxiety inside us and we are not able to concentrate much or focus much. That anxiousness is also a mental stress. How about grief? If we are feeling very sad, you may ask me, how can sadness be stress? Well, it is stress because your system is not normal at that time. Your system cannot feel happy. So the quickest way to understand when you are not in stress or when you are free of stress is when you will know that you are in a happy state. You're in a peaceful state. But when you are full of sorrow or grief or sadness, right, your system is hijacked by lower emotions, negative emotions. You can't feel your own happy state. Remember in the first workout I told about neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters in the brain, they get blocked. You can't feel anything because of the sorrowness right out there. So that's also a mental stress. Guilt. How about, do we have the feeling of guilt all the time? That, yes, I did trick her. I know it was not a nice thing to do. There's a guilt inside us, right? Suppose it was possible that I could have given my friend my notebook which had all the answers, or which teachers gave me class notes, but I didn't want to share my notes. I was too possessive about them, or I'm too possessive about my clothes. But one day you realize it wouldn't have been bad if I could share that dress with him. It would have been okay. So we have these guilt things inside us. How about when our mom and dad tells us, hey, don't eat so many ice creams or sweets, okay? And then they tell us all about the scientific phenomena, why we shouldn't eat, why we shouldn't do this, why we shouldn't do that. And suddenly what happens that one day they are out of home, and now you have all the chance to open up um, your pantry, and from the pantry you would pull out anything, the cookies, the jar, the chocolates, and everything is now free for you, and you'll start eating because you were just stimulated towards it. There was no one to stop you from it. And after 1 hour you would feel so guilty about it. Oh my god, what did I do? My tummy is aching. Why did I eat so much? That's guilt. So that guilt hijacks our system. We can't think properly. We cannot function properly. Our brain gets hijacked. And that's a mental stress. And that stress shuts down our system. Have you ever thought about low self-esteem? What is low self-esteem? It is when you're not able to respect others and you're not able to respect yourself. You know, there's one exercise which I was made to do one time because I wanted to understand how much self-esteem I have, how much self-worth how much I believe in myself. Have you ever thought about that? Do you believe in yourself? Important question. So the way to understand how to believe in yourself is go to the mirror tonight. And when you stand in front of the mirror, look into your eyes straight up there. Okay? And keep on staring in your eyes for a few minutes. And start speaking good things about yourself. If you are not able to speak much good things about yourself, that means you have low self-esteem. Okay, and mostly when we grow up as adults, because a lot of time, you know, our parents or our peers um, or our colleagues, our relatives, they tell us, hey, you they create a character out of our habits, right? They say that suppose every time you're careless, I see, like, I know you're careless, that's why you drop this. I know you're careless, that's why you always bang yourself into something. You're careless, that's why you drop things. Your hand is always shaking. So what happens in our mind? We start believing in it. We start believing that we are careless, right? Even though we don't want to be careless, but because it becomes fed in our subconscious mind, we start believing in it that we are careless because so many people around us are telling us that we are careless. That's when we start disrespecting ourselves. That's when we start developing low self-esteem. And it is a very, very big mental stress, because next time when you are holding something, you know what's gonna replay in your mind? Hey, you are careless, don't do it. You are trying to challenge yourself, don't do it. That's the mind speaking to you. But your conscious mind says, I really want to do it. I want to prove to myself I can really do it, right? And then the fight begin in your head, the mind in your head, and the mind in your heart in this present moment, and the fight begins. And what happens ultimately? Ultimately, you become so much full of fear and anxiety that you actually drop that glass of water. And this happens with everyone, not just you. It has happened with me also. Because of this mind confusion, because of this mental mismatch of what's going in our head and what we really want to do, that constant feed in our head, it makes us lose our mind, and we finally drop things. We finally do what's fed in our subconscious mind by others. So the low self-esteem is a very, very big mental stress. Next one, depression. We must have felt depressed. Sometimes you must have felt, another word for depression could be bored. I'm bored today. I don't want to do anything. I just don't feel like getting up and helping you for anything, Mom. I just don't want to do it. I'm tired. I just can't do it. This is a state of depression when you are low in energy. Aren't we low in energy most of the time of our days, right? We are full of excitement some days, and then we are full of boredom some days. So quick for us to bring to boredom. Have you ever realized that? That state is depression, when we are very low in energy, and now our system can't function normal. And because it can't function normal, our system gets hijacked by the lowness, same as when we are sorrow or in grief. How about when we are scared? scared and fear. So many fears we have in our life. We are fearful of being banged by someone. We are fearful of being embarrassed in public. We are fearful of insects around us. We are fearful of, say, our parents watching us do something which they think is not right. We are fearful of facing the first day of the school. Are anxious, right? We are fearful of lions or snakes. We're fearful of some kids might be fearful of even going through roller coaster rides. Have you ever imagined how many fears we have uh, saturated in our body, in our mind, in our whole system? Every single fear that we have has become a point of saturation in our body. It has become a point where our system cannot function the way it was meant to be. It slows down in its functioning, and that's the reason we start developing allergies. We start having low immunity reactions, flu. We start sneezing. We start having flus in our stomach. So many health problems we start developing, and not just health problem, we also don't feel good some days. We just don't feel excited anymore sometimes. All this is the reason because our whole system has been hijacked by fear, which we don't realize at that moment. If you ask me right now, do I have fear? I would say no, I don't have any fear. But if you sit in a quiet moment and stay in stillness and start seeing your reactions to different things, you would realize so many fears. You know what? You must maintain, we all must maintain. I also maintain a diary with my fears. And every single week, day, or month, I make it a point that this whole month, I'm going to challenge my fear number one. Next month, I'm going to challenge my fear number two. Next month, I'm going to challenge my fear number three. So I keep on challenging my fears because I want to get this stress out of my system. I want to function like an extraordinary being. I want to function like a superhuman being, right? So that's what the fear leads us towards, a huge mental stress. When we are frustrated, so much frustration in our life, we're frustrated with why did you give me so much, why you took away things from me, why you can't give me what I want, why can't you go to Amazon and buy these four things I really wanted, don't you have enough money, I want it, right? So much frustrations we have, we're frustrated constantly. Our homework is not finished, we are frustrated. Our friend is not speaking to us, why is he not speaking to us, we are frustrated with ourselves. So we have so much frustration all the time, we are facing it. Sometimes you're frustrated with ourselves. For example, you're trying to do a new craft, maybe an origami piece, and you keep on trying for 1 hour, and then after 1 hour, ah, I am frustrated with myself. I can't do it anymore. I think I'm stupid. I think we start labeling ourselves. I think I can never ever do such things ever. I think I'm never going to be a grown up. I think I can never be good at this. I think I can be never good at that. So we keep on labeling ourselves because we get frustrated with things and stuff. How about worry? Aren't we worried, full of worries a lot, right? Same thing as frustration. Like we are worried about getting up early in the morning for school. We are worried about sleeping early in the night because we need to get up early. We are worried about finishing our homeworks. We are worried about our soccer games. We are worried about if we will win the match or not. We are worried about um, just name it. Every single place we are constantly worried. Just see, like all these negative emotions, these are just a few of the negative emotions I have stated today. But imagine so much more in our life throughout the day we are doing. What are we doing to ourselves? Think about it. 24 hours, our system is constantly hijacked. We are constantly keeping on putting in our system, or exhaling out all our good energy because of this negative emotions, and no more oxygen in our system. We will die out. Our battery will die out. We will not be able to function 100%. As we grow, as we age, Our body's functions should become much wiser, much smarter. But what happens? It starts deteriorating. So many kids have glasses today. Can you see that? We have stressed our eyes so much. We have stressed our eyes by watching the television constantly, the iPads, the phones, and we're like constantly on the phone and like so near and looking at it with such narrowed vision. So we have not relaxed our eyes. We have constantly put our eyes into a state of stress. And what happens then? In a year, 2 years, 3 years, a couple of years, our eyesight start becoming loose. You know what? Have you ever thought about this? Really, I was thinking one day that scientifically, I've been given this body, and this body has 100% ability to live up to 100 years without shutting down mentally, without shutting down from its wisdom self. And the main function of my body is that all my organs become so wise that I am able to function in my later ages with the best efficiency possible, with my mind alertness to the best and the highest, right? But what happens if I've already my eyesight is losing itself? What will happen in the age 50, 60? What happens in the age 30? Maybe I have to go through some operation and get surgery done so that I can get my better vision. And then it deteriorates again because you don't know how to hold it. You don't know. You never breathe in again. You were exhaling out all the time, right? So what happens now? The whole system starts becoming going down and down and down. So this is the perfect age where we are today to stop the stress, to stop our negative emotions. And if we use some spiritual hacks, it becomes so easy to get rid of this stress. It's unbelievable. You really don't have to work and function for hours to train yourself to do this, do that. And you know what? How I have come to these spiritual hacks? Because I've gone through 1,000 hours of training. And then finally one day I discovered, hey, it was better if I could hijack my system and just get rid of the stress in just one moment. And I learned it. And I learned it. And that's what I'm going to share with you. You're going to learn all those spiritual hacks that I use. And in moments, I get rid of my stress and my negative emotions. It's just gone. Poof, it's just gone. It's not there in the next moment. Okay, so you're going to learn those amazing magical techniques, how to get rid of our negative emotions. Okay, and the next slide, which I'm going to take today, is of spiritual stress. This is very interesting. You wouldn't even have thought that could there be something known as spiritual stress? Look at this. Yes, when we are constantly stressing to be nice. How many times are we doing it, right? Look, everyone is telling us that a nice person is a person who helps mama and daddy. A nice person is a person who wakes up in the morning and always speaking good things. A nice person is a person who never speaks wrong or bad things to others. A nice person always shares things. A nice person always does that, does. Our system is filled up with all the things that we should be, right? But at the same time, we want to have some fun. We want to enjoy ourselves, right? What happens? We get split into two things. That in this moment I want to play, but right now my mind is telling me that I should be nice, and I want to be really creative in this moment, do something else and not really engage myself into being nice. So the moment when we are stressed to maintain our nice self, when we are stressed to maintain our kind self, it is known as a spiritual stress. In truth, the kindness and being nice is a natural attribute. It comes from within us effortlessly. You don't require to put effort into it. And it happens when our dimensions changes, when in a matrix of the world we jump from one level to another level. That's when it naturally happens. But when we are stressing to be nice every single moment, and we are constantly in a split moment, I don't know what to do right now, That is spiritual stress. Look, stressing to be normal, to make things and situations normal, that's also a spiritual stress, which means that suppose a friend says, you know what, today you were really mean to me and I don't really like it. And you see now how I'm going to be mean to you one day. And now what happens inside you? You were very cool and calm before she talked about you like that. And now your stress begins. You want to make every situation normal. You want your friend to like you again. You want your friend to share things with you again. And you are stressed now. You're stressed to make things normal. You go around, you make things happen around your friend so that she becomes happy with you, so that he or she starts liking you back again. You try to find answers to things and justify things. And then finally, you're so stressed by the end of the day that when you come home and your mom is saying, hey, come, let's have some fun and play a board game. And what would you say? No, I'm very tired right now. I don't want to play anything. Your mom says, what happened? Didn't you have a good day in school? And you would say, no, my friend said mean words, that I am mean to her. And I don't know why she said that. She's not explaining it to me. What happened? Your whole system got hijacked because you were trying to make that situation, that place normal. And now you cannot be at peace. You cannot be happy anymore. Right? So this is stressing to be normal, to make situations normal for you. That is a spiritual stress. Look at another stress. Stressing for not being able to say no because you are fearful that someone will reject you if I say no. It's a group of people, right? It's a group of friends, and they all are saying, hey, we want a bicycle today. And that particular day, you really want to study something good. You want to read some nice autobiography, but you're not able to say no. Why? Because what will they think? What if they outcast you from their group? What if you don't speak bad words about others that they are speaking about, right? And then you go into a stress. That's a spiritual stress because you're not able to say no to your friends, that no, I'm not gonna do that, I'm not able to do that, because you fear that they will reject you, they will outcast you, they will not include you in their circle anymore. And that is stressing, to be not able to say no. That's coming from fear of rejection from the group. Another spiritual stress, stressing to maintain a religious attitude. Very interesting. This might hold true for elder people or adults, that we are always stressing to maintain a religious attitude. We're always running back and forth between activities constantly, that I want to accomplish this, I want to accomplish that in the spiritual matters, and they're constantly working towards it, and they're stressed. It's not coming naturally from within them to maintain, to plan out things. It's a spiritual stress because you want to make that religious thing happen. It's a spiritual stress. And then finally, stressing to maintain one's virtues. Again, virtues means maybe you have your nature of kindness. Maybe you have your nature of compassion, or always think of others first, right? You might have all those beautiful aspects to your attitude and your nature. Maybe you always share your things with others. Maybe before sitting onto the table, you always say, hey mama, papa, can I get you something before I sit down to eat, right? So these are our virtues. And if there is in one moment suddenly your friend comes into the house, and that friend is like super excited to spend all your time with him, what happens in that moment? You are again in a split moment. Should I again maintain my beautiful virtuous self as I had always been, or I want to run and be excited with this new kid, my friend, and go and enjoy with him? So again, there's a split, and we don't know whether we want to maintain our virtuous self, our virtues, or we want to go and do some other activity. When the virtues come from within, they just come. You don't have to think twice about it. But any single moment when your niceness, your kindness, your compassion, your sharing attitude, you have to think twice about it. That means it's still not your spiritual nature. You are just stressing to maintain it. It must come effortlessly within yourself, not by putting so much force and maintaining it. That's what spiritual stress is about. So it's time is 4:36, and if you are good to go, shall I continue? Maybe one or one more slide. One more slide can I take? Or do you want me to continue it tomorrow? Let's see. Are there any thumbs up here? Show me your faces. Shall I continue just one more slide? It will take me just 5 or 6 more minutes. Okay, so we have a few thumbs up here. Let's do that. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with me and enjoying this session. Next slide. Last one for today. So today I'm not going to share with you the spiritual hacks, but I'm going to tell you what exactly it means. Okay, so let's understand a very simple thing right now. Remember, I told you the story of what do you say, the deer and the leopard which was chasing it, right? So what happened after the chase was stopped? The deer stopped, the leopard stopped. Both of them stopped in that moment, right? They forgot about it. They did not continue with their stressful states. Okay, another example, when I was little, I was told I was in India. Okay, and then what happened is very interesting. It's not very nice story, but it's still interesting how these how the cow behaves. So what happens is, like, we have a house which has got like a huge front portion which is full of garden, and this huge front yard which is full of garden and trees and beautiful flowers, and also the main door to entrance into the house is through that yard. So many times that main door was left open. So in India, not here, not in the United States, you don't see it here, but in India you have cows and goats and horses sometimes, and sometimes even elephants on the streets. Okay, and they're just on the streets by themselves. There's no really caretaker for them, and they're like moving around on their own free will everywhere. So the suddenly this cow sees the lush green amazing garden filled with so much green grass, and you know what comes into its mind? Moo, I want to eat now, such delicious food for me served. And it comes inside our house into the yard. It starts eating up, yum yum, munch munch, all this greenery. And suddenly the doorman watches the cow, and we were playing there, and we saw this cow munching on the beautiful rose flowers and this and that, and everything was like gobbled, gobbled, gobbled quick as possible. And this watchman finally had a stick in his hand and started shouting, "Hey cow, leave the place, leave the place." And the cow was still listening but was not doing anything. It was still munching, munching. And then you know what this watchman does? He actually picks up some pebbles and starts throwing it towards it, not really to its body but towards it. But some of these pebbles actually hit its body also. And then the cow feels it's in danger. I have to run now. And the cow starts running out suddenly to the door and out of the door. Okay, and then we are playing there. And after 10 minutes, what we see is the cow comes back again to munch back onto the green grass. And you know what? I came to understand, why did this cow come back again when it was so injured, so hurt, and it still came back again here to eat? Didn't it feel the hurt? Didn't it feel the pain? You know what happens with cows and all these sentient beings? Especially the cows, it does not go into stress easily. So it stays in the moment of stress only when we hit them, or when the rocks was thrown to it. That was the only time it went into stress, and it felt threatened and it ran away. Just the moment after it left the door, it was back to its normal state. It was back to its normal happy state, and it saw that the grass was green again. It went again to the green grass. It forgot all about the hurt it had on its body. And this really happens with most of it. Even when we were young, very young, like 5 years old, 6 years old, if our mama told us, hey, go upstairs and get me a fan, and you would run up and get a fan. And then again she said, go run up and get me something. You would go up and down the stairs almost 50 times without being stressed. No stress in your body, because it was like your natural state. It was, you were creative about it. You're not tired. But today, if you tell me to do it after 3 up and down the stairs, I would be stressed. I would say, it's by mind. I believe that I'm stressed and I'm stressed. I don't want to do it again. I think I'm tired. It's I think I'm tired. How do you say you're tired? You say, I think I'm tired. So you're thinking that you're tired. It's not really your body, but the body goes in stress. Okay. But what is distress? Look at this pot, flower pot here. Okay. So the story goes like this. The name of these islands is Solomon Islands. So what happens is, in the Solomon Islands, there are a group of these tribes, and these tribes, if they want, uh, there's like a huge big tree on the way of their, um, they wanna vacate a small land area. Okay, mostly they live in the jungles and the forest kind of areas. They want to vacate some area. They want to make it empty. Okay, now there is so many trees out there, and if they cut down the trees and make the space barren, in that case it will take a lot of time. They don't do that. They don't cut down the trees. You know what they do? They circle around a tree, totally circle around a tree, and every single day for about a few days, 5 to 10 days, they go around the tree and they start speaking bad things about the tree. And they start speaking that you don't deserve this space, you're not a good tree, you are this, you're that, you're angry person, and you're bad, you don't belong here, this space is not for you, and we don't like you, we hate you, and we don't want you here anymore. And all those negative words, they keep on speaking to the tree for a few hours, and then continue next day, and then continue. What happens in 3 days, 4 days? The tree dies by itself. So the tree went into a distress mode. What does this mean? One time you're hit with stress, and when you keep on repeating that emotion of stress inside you, you don't realize you are in stress, but your whole body goes into distress. And distress is lethal, and distress kills us. Distress is so harmful that it shuts down our whole immune system. Distress is so bad that it actually shuts down our thinking capacity. We can think. Sometimes when you say to people, hey, can you meditate, they cannot meditate. Why? They're constantly in a state of distress. They got stressed one time, and that stress kept on being continued over hours, over days, over years, and it turned into a distress. How does it happen? Suppose you hate someone, right? First day you didn't like the way that person was dressed up, and you started hating that person. So your body started going in stress because it was a negative emotion that you hated someone. Now, after 1 year, you meet this person and you still hate him. That means that the emotion of hatred was still there inside you, and it kept on lingering on even though you didn't feel it, but it was inside the body's memory. You know what? Our body has got billion zillion cells, and every cell of our body takes the memory of our stress. And that stress keeps on repeating itself. Maybe we don't realize because we are multifunctional beings. We are doing so many things together. We can't listen to what's happening inside our body. Can you listen to your heartbeat right now? No, you cannot. Can you listen to the blood being thrown into the lungs, and the lungs throwing the blood into the different parts of the body and the extremities? Can you listen to that? No, you cannot, because you're multifunctional. You can't listen to what's happening in your body. Similarly, you cannot listen to the distress. So the body starts dysfunctioning after a period of time, and it dies out. It's no more longer available to you. So you become depressed, you can't feel happy anymore, you're so sad, you're so bored all the time. No matter how much people bring you things to make you happy, but you still stay bored and unhappy. That's what stress is. Distress is. I hope you can easily understand the difference between stress and distress. So look at this image here, right? Once the tree was given those bad words, it went into a distress mode and it started believing in itself. It started believing that I am bad, I'm not good, I'm not helping anyone, I'm not giving fruits. It even stops giving fruits any longer. It stops giving nice branches, nice leaves, everything shuts down. It goes into a distress mode and it dies out. Similarly, our body's functions and organs starts to die out. We can't think properly. Everything starts. This is because of the distress. Why is it more harmful than the stress itself? Have you ever thought about it? It is more harmful because the stress was just in that moment. You felt angry. That's it. Finished. Right? The cow felt the hurt. That's it. Finished. The deer was chased by the leopard and it had the fear, but it was just for that moment, the stress. After, they didn't feel stress anymore. They were back happy. What about us? We're no more happy anymore. Our whole body retains, memorizes this stress thing, negative emotions, and it goes into a distress mode. And we become very anxious. You know, if there was no distress in your body, you would never become anxious in your exams. You would never feel bored with anything. You would be happy constantly, right? You would never be depressed about anything. There would be never low energy inside you if there was no distress in your body. You would be in a state of extraordinary, superhumanly happiness all the time. But why can't we be in it? It's because of this distress. The emotions we keep on repeating, keep on repeating, keep on feeling, and the body shuts down. And you know what? We think that we are sleeping and finally we are getting some rest. No, dear, it doesn't happen. What happens? You sleep, dreams start coming in, and you start running in your dreams. So what happens? You are back in stress. Do you know that? When you're running in your dreams, when you're full of fears in your dreams, when there's a nightmare, when there are things that you don't like in your dreams, or when there's excitement in your dreams, your system still goes into stress and distress. It goes. You think that your conscious mind is not thinking, but your subconscious mind is awake. It's alert. That's why it's taking you in all those rides. It is stressed even when you are sleeping. So don't think that the sleeping is giving you rest. No, until you get rid of these four emotions, your passions, your negative emotions, every single time you'll be in a stress. And we're going to learn some amazing spiritual hacks to get ourselves rid of these emotions. Okay, next one. Self-doubt is a product of distress. What is self-doubt? Self-doubt, again, I told you, when we start doubting ourselves, when when the tribal people started giving so much negative feelings and emotions to that tree, the tree started having doubt on itself. It started having doubt that I cannot produce any more good leaves. It starts doubting that I cannot produce any more good fruits. What is my worth? I am worthless. And it starts doubting itself. That's what we do. We start doubting. Don't we have so many doubts about ourselves? Think about it. Can you make a list of this? How many doubts we have about ourselves in our life? Really, like, this is a workshop. Trust me, every single thing that I'm telling you to do, you must right now write down these things and maintain a journal so that we can actually see them, identify them, and get out of it with some spiritual hacks. Okay, so before going tonight, write down something that you fear about. Write down some things that you doubt about yourself. Write down some things that you have labeled yourself as not a good person or is not a careful person. Write down those things, and tomorrow we're going to work specifically on these things and how to hijack our system and get rid of any kind of stress, and then become an extraordinary people, right? And I told you that chronic illnesses is an outcome of distress because our immune system shuts down. So every single time the weather changes, we start sneezing. Every single time we eat something from outside, which might have something which is not cooked properly or decayed, we start developing flu in our stomach. How many times we have vomited out things? How many times we have had headache in our head, right? Headache, then we have pain in certain parts of our body. We play soccer, we get tired with our legs and feet. So our body starts developing these chronic illnesses. Chronic illness is an illness which stays with us for a longer duration of time, over a period of time, right? For example, if you're wearing glasses, I would say it's a chronic illness, because now for a long duration of time, your eyes are not getting back to its normal state. If you hear noise too much, loud music, or your headphones is constantly in your ears, you have taken yourself into a distress mode. Your whole body shuts down. And then after some time, you will not be able to hear what a distant teacher is talking to you. You would not be able to hear the subtle sounds from distance. You will not be able to hear the multiple sounds of the chirping trees, because we took our senses into a distress mode. We stressed them and it's gone into distress, right? So these are the various different things. Okay, this is tomorrow's slide. I'm not gonna take it today because it's already 4:52 and I've almost taken 45 minutes here to an hour. So tomorrow we're going to talk about what is hacking. How can we hack our system, right? And how can we instantaneously change our mode from stress or distress into a happy zone? Okay, so we're going to learn some hacking techniques. We're going to learn about how to hack our bodies, how to hack our mind, and how to hack spiritually to all different dimensions. So we end our session here today, and let's say Namokar mantra so that. Okay, so this is done. Okay, can everyone see me? Thank you so much for being with me today. I have 5 minutes. If anyone has questions, I will take it right now. Let's see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, I don't see anything in the chat. You enjoyed it. Thank you so much. If anything comes up to you with any questions, write down in your diary, and you can still post down these questions in the chat for next day, tomorrow. And tomorrow it will be another like 45 minutes class where I would finish up this workshop on spiritual hacking our negative emotions. Take a deep breath. Thank you so much for being with me today. I'm so grateful for your presence. I see every one of you had been listening so intently to this workshop. Let's take a pause, take a deep breath, exhale out, and say Namokar mantra. Namo Arihantaram, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Airiyanam, Namo Vajayanam, Namo Loe Sabasahunam. ऐसो पंच नमो यारो सब पाव पणासनो मंगलाणम च सफिसेम परमम हवै मंगलम. Jai Janine everyone. See you tomorrow.